Okay, so now this looks a lot like the last example, but we can't use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing sides. But what I can notice is that this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So that means this side is 45. So these two sides are equal. So if we think back to a 45, 45, 90 triangle, this side is A, this side is A, this side is A radical 2. So when I look at that, I know that A radical 2 is also equal to 7 radical 2. So I can solve for A. I want to solve for A here. So I can divide by radical 2, and I get A is equal to 7. So I know this side is 7, and this side is 7. So now I have the three sides of my triangle, and I can think of SOHCAHTOA here to solve. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So I have to label my sides here. My hypotenuse is opposite my right triangle, or my right angle. Here's my theta. So that means this side is opposite. Oh no, that's not right. This side is my adjacent. This side is my opposite. Because my angle that I'm using is right here. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So my opposite is going to be 7. My hypotenuse is going to be 7 radical 2. Simplify this, I get 1 over radical 2. I have to continue to simplify because I can't have a radical on the bottom. So I multiply by radical 2 over radical 2, and I get radical 2 over 2. A little bit more work. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. My adjacent is 7. My hypotenuse is 7 radical 2. So this is the same as the one up above. So I do the same thing, and I'm going to get radical 2 over 2. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, which is going to be 7 over 7, which is just 1. Now we have to do our reciprocals. So I like to go to the reciprocal that I can flip that will put the radical on top. So if I flip radical 2 over 2, then I'm just going to have to rationalize again because now I have a radical on my bottom. So if I did that, I'm going to have 2 radical 2, and I would have to go through and rationalize. Well, that seems like a lot of work. I don't want to do that. So what I do is look for the one that I can flip, and I can flip this here, and this just becomes radical 2 over 1, or radical 2. Same thing here, I can flip this before I rationalized it, so it just becomes radical 2 over 1, or radical 2. And then when I flip 1, it just becomes 1. So those are my answers. I'll have another video for example 4. This one we used a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and example 4 we're going to be using a 30, 60, 90 triangle.